Oh, hello. Welcome to Gourmet, the channel where I cook my way through the cookbooks I own and have never used. We are still working on Start Here, but we're getting close to the finish. And this week we'll be making creamy lemon bars with brown butter crust. Sounds pretty good. I realize I haven't said it in a little while, so if you're new here, welcome. But what we're doing is we're rating these recipes on how easy the ingredients were to find, if I wanted to quit halfway through, and how good the outcome was. And so we rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, and then when we're finished with the cookbook, we'll rate the whole cookbook overall. So I hope you guys come along for the journey. Welcome. Welcome back. Let's get started. Our first step is to make brown butter. And we also are going to incorporate a vanilla bean. So I already have my vanilla bean out. It says to use a spent vanilla bean. I didn't buy vanilla for this recipe. What I did was steal this from the jar of homemade vanilla extract. And I'm just going to assume that's going to work. I don't really know. But I thought that was better and cheaper than buying a vanilla bean when it's optional. So I took the optional route and didn't buy them. Now I'm going to go ahead and we need 1 stick of butter. We're going to get this butter in the pan and let it start melting. Now I have just had this sitting at room temp today. So it's a little melted because it's a little hot. But that's okay. We'll make it through. Go ahead and we're just going to melt the butter with the vanilla pod until it gets, that brown butter consistency, probably, I don't know, within 10 minutes from now. Let's finish making our brown butter. It's a little hard to see in here, but what we're going to do is we actually need to pour it in a bowl and set this bowl aside for 20 minutes or so for the butter to kind of cool back down and get a little more solid. The recipe says you can do it in 20 minutes in the refrigerator or 2 hours at room temp. We'll see, but I'm going to go ahead and pour the brown butter in here so you guys can kind of get a better view of what it looks like. And you want to make sure you get all of the little bits out because you will have some, browned buttered solids at the bottom. But those also give this some flavor. We are going to keep the vanilla bean pod in there to keep kind of steeping. Let me try to blow off some of the bubbles. So you guys can kind of see that's how brown we got our butter. It looks good. It smells great. Who doesn't want vanilla butter? I will say it seems like the vanilla bean kind of got fried. I don't know how you would stop that, but it is an optional ingredient. I think it's going to taste really good, but I know vanilla beans can be hard to find. So let's go ahead, put this in the fridge, and I will see you in about 20 minutes. We've got our butter mostly chilled. Not all the way, but close enough for me. And I'm going to go ahead and scoop out the vanilla bean and try not to bring a whole bunch of butter with it. So I'm just going to scrape it off. I guess the good thing about this is, like I said earlier, the vanilla bean kind of fried, so it's really easy to handle and get most of the butter off. I'm going to set that aside and find the part that I broke off accidentally, apparently. Get that off. Scrape all that off. Come on. And then I'm just going to set this aside because we don't need this pot anymore. Perfect. I'm just going to give this a little stir, kind of bring it back to life a little bit. It was in my fridge for closer to 30 minutes than 20. But you can see it's definitely firmed up a lot, and I think that's what we're really looking for. Now, we are going to have to add some powdered sugar, salt, an egg yolk, and flour into this. I have to read the recipe because there's so many ingredients getting put in at one time. I guess I could close the cabinet too. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure out the powdered sugar first. Since this is a baking recipe, you know that means we are going to go ahead and measure it by weight, by grams. That is how the recipe goes. It does, like I said before, the book does give you the like cup equivalent. But since it's baking, I'm going to try to be more specific. So let's get that on. Put that on. Now I have to zero out the scale. Perfect. Okay. Don't judge me. I am using 2 different bags of powdered sugar, I think. I don't know why I had 2 bags open, but I did. So hopefully we'll go down to 1. Or not. Okay, I was hopeful. I clearly don't know how to read. Yeah, because we only need 60 grams, and it's about half a cup. Put in our powdered sugar. We need a pinch of salt. So let's go ahead and get our salt. Oops, don't know what that was. Just a little. I think that's a pinch. We like to fake measure. And then we're going to go ahead and combine this all together. Here's what it looks like here. So we're going to go ahead and get 1 egg yolk. I guess I could have done this beforehand, but I didn't. Good thing this hasn't been anywhere because we're going to put the egg in here. I don't currently have a use for an egg, so I just need the yolk. I know that's wasteful, but, well, sometimes it just has to happen that way. Okay. I'm just going to use my hand. Just kind of do that. I find that easier than, I know it's messier, but I find it easier to do it with my hand like this than to go back and forth with eggshells. It's also a lot quicker when you have to do a whole bunch in a row. But either way, you're going to end up washing your hands, so I don't see what the difference is. Yolk in here, and we're just going to get that mixed in as well. You kind of got to push the butter up against the side and really work to get this incorporated. That's why this recipe specifically says to use a stiff spatula for this part, which definitely makes sense. I love this spatula. It's a little Pampered Chef spatula, but any spatula will do. I just, if you have one like this, it's the way to go. This is literally my all-time favorite spatula that I own. Okay. And now we're going to add flour. So we're going to add our flour. This is about a cup or 120 grams. So let's get that in there. Wow. It's a lot more than I thought. So let's get a spoon. There's a lot of walking in and out of frame on this one. How much is that? Another big spoonful? How much do I need? 120. There we go. 100 and, oh, that's 121. Why does it change? There we go. Okay. I have 120 on the dot. Add in the flour, and this is just making the crust. So we are going to combine all of this until it becomes a dough. Now, at some point, I'm going to have to use my hands, but for right now, I'm using the spatula to kind of do an initial combining. And then to get it more combined than this, I'm definitely going to have to use my hands. I get shortbread. If you've ever made shortbread, that's kind of the same deal. It's like a really, I guess they call it a shaggy dough, maybe is what it would be. Where it doesn't necessarily feel like everything's incorporated, but you can push it together and it will stay together. And so that's kind of where we are. I'm going to clean off my hand, and we're going to get the pan ready. Decided what I'm going to do with the pan. Unlike what I did with the brownies, I did go ahead and cut my parchment. So I greased the pan with Pam, and we're just going to cut the parchment. Well, we already cut the parchment. We're just putting the parchment in there, and then I'm going to dump the dough inside the pan, and we'll go ahead and squish this around. So you can see kind of, and I don't know if you can hear it, but it definitely has like a sandy texture to it. That's just how this dough, I think, is supposed to be. Like I said, it's not a real normal dough. It's something that you're going to push together in the pan to make like a fine, thin layer. And with all the Pam, you know, things slide around a little bit, but try to get in every nook and cranny. There's no way that this is going to be even, despite our best efforts. It'll be close, but it's not going to be spot on. You just try your best. Like we always do on this channel. We try our best, and if something doesn't work, we tried, and if it does work, what a pleasant, fun surprise for us. Okay, I'm just going to scrape that off. Don't worry, my hands have been washed multiple times. But that's what this looks like. We're going to stick it in the oven at 325 for about 20 minutes. Or about 30 minutes. It should bake to like a nice golden brown. And then I'll show you guys when that's done, because it's got to cool. That way we can make the mixture, finish these guys off, and go from there. Okay, so I'll see you either when these are out of the oven or when it's cool and we're ready to move on to the next step. I decided to let the crust cool before I showed you, just because you have to take it out of the oven and then let it cool some more. So this is what it looks like. It smells delicious. It's basically shortbread. So it's basically butter and flour. Honestly, I'd put chocolate on it and call it a day if I wanted to. But we're not going to do that. We're going to make lemon squares. So now we get to use the mixer. We are going to get our egg yolks and condensed milk, lemon zest, and get that all well combined in here. Now, I thought about it on the break. I'm going to try to save my egg whites this time. Question mark? I don't know if that's going to work. But I need egg whites for another recipe I'm doing. Instead of wasting everything, because I've got 5 eggs in here, I might as well just try to save the egg yolks in a container, like a Tupperware container, because I'm going to be using them in a day or two. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to use this, and we're going to see how this goes. It might go poorly. It might go great. I really don't know. I guess we'll just, as we go, throw away the... Oh, we're doing this backwards. Oh, this is backwards. Oh. Okay, so the first one didn't go well. I need yolks in here, not whites. I got a little bit of white, but I'm not worried about it. Most of the white is in here. So, okay. That just really... I did really poorly with that. I don't know what I was doing. That was an adventure. We've got our 5 egg yolks in here. I already went ahead and kind of pre-opened this, but this is a can of condensed milk that we're also going to put in here. Let's get that in. Woo! Go team. We've got our egg yolks, we've got our condensed milk. We're going to add a pinch of sugar, or a sugar. We're going to add a pinch of salt. This is the same salt I've been using this whole time. That's kind of a big pinch, but it's a pinch. And we're going to add some lemon zest. We are eventually going to be squeezing a whole bunch of lemons, but for right now, we just need the zest. Don't judge me. I'll clean these up later. But, you know, sometimes when you're filming or when you're cooking, it's easier just to kind of stick the sticker somewhere and then throw them in the trash later. Let me open this back up. Zest some of this lemon. That is, you know, that is a fragrant lemon. It's a paper towel. I threw away the paper towel because I was cleaning a plate and a knife. We are going to cut 5 lemons and juice them. I'm honestly thinking about juicing them into the measuring cup. Just because then if there's any seeds or anything like that that we definitely don't want in here, I can kind of control that and get them out easier than just doing it in there. So we're thinking big with our brains. Let's go ahead and squeeze some lemons. And I was right off the bat, we've got seeds in here. So I'm just not going to worry about them, and we'll fish them out as we go. So I'm going to actually pour the lemon juice through here, and that will catch all of our seeds, all of the mistakes we made along the way. And we just got to let that filter out a little bit. This one's a really small, like a super fine sieve or sieve. I don't know. I call them a sieve, I guess, if I think about it. This one's super fine, so you kind of got to give it some time to get all the juice out. That's pretty much all of it. I'm going to call that a day. And now, the only thing we're not using from this recipe that was sort of that was optional, is citric acid. I didn't really look that hard for it. I looked in the spice aisle at the grocery store, and that was kind of it. I looked in the baking aisle. That was it. I wasn't going to go hard. I knew it was optional, so I wasn't really that worried about it. I already was using the optional vanilla bean, so I figured 1 out of 2 optional ingredients, I'm doing pretty good. If you have citric acid, it has a little bit, 1/4 teaspoon, so really not that much. I think with maybe just like a little extra lemon juice, we're going to kind of get that same effect. But let's go ahead and whisk this together. Take this off. You can see it's pretty well incorporated. We've got the lemon zest in there. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it's not egg. Maybe it's lemon zest. That might be it. I forgot we had that. We have lemon zest. It smells like a lemon. I'm going to go ahead and pour this on top. In one even layer. Make sure to scoop out all of the batter filling, whatever this is. I know this is kind of backwards on the camera, and I really should be shooting from over here on my right hand side, but you know, it is what it is. One day we'll figure out the setup better than we have it, but currently this is the best it's got. That just is what it is. I'm gonna set the bowl to the side. We'll bring this up to you guys. You can see they look pretty good. It's nice and even color. So we're gonna bake this for about 15 minutes. To the second day of the lemon squares. Ignore what's in here. That's from another video. That's from the s'mores pie. So if you haven't seen that one, go check that one out. But yeah, let's get the lemon squares out of the fridge. I just took the cover off, so don't worry. But this is what they look like. They look good. So I'm going to go ahead and try to gently pull these guys out. Here we go. They have been sitting in the fridge just because I made them a couple days ago, but they look good. And what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and slice them, dust it with powdered sugar, and then I'll bring it up close when I'm done because I know this one's kind of far away, but I just used this burner and it's still hot, and I cannot ever again put anything over a hot burner. I've done that twice on this channel. I don't know if you've seen it, except for maybe once, but I can't do it again. So let's get the lemon squares. This isn't the most beautiful presentation, but here they are. You can see, I mean, these middle ones look pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and take a bite from this one. So give me one. I'm just going to set these to the side. So this is the lemon bar I've chosen. Let me give it a taste. Honestly, I think it's good. I'm not always the biggest fan of a lemon bar. So for me, it's a little too tart. But I think that's kind of what it's supposed to be. It tastes pretty much like most of the lemon squares I've ever had. And I imagine most of the recipes are very similar. It was easy to make. The ingredients were easy to find. I had most of it at home. I just had to buy some of it. I really didn't feel like I had to give up. Sorry, I saw it, and I'm sure you did too. I didn't feel like I had to give up on any of the one section of the recipe. There might be something I do different, but I did like this recipe because it came with a couple different variation ideas, like a key lime pie bar and stuff like that. Yeah, I liked it. I think this is probably a solid 8 out of 10. It's 7.5 out of 10. I'm trying not to judge it too harshly, just because I don't like lemon squares all that much all the time. Sorry, it's so hot in my kitchen. I've just been working over a water bath to make that, and it hasn't cooled off at all. But yeah, I liked this one. I think if you like lemon squares and you like lemon, you're gonna love it. And they keep up for a couple days in the fridge, or like a month in the freezer, as long as they're tightly wrapped. So yeah, I've liked this one. There's no problem here. But I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.